Okay, folks, I believe it's 6 o'clock according to both our clock and the computer clock. So I am calling to order the regular meeting of the Common Council of the City of Platteville. It is Tuesday, December 12th, 2023, at 6 p.m. like I said, and we are in the council chambers. We'll start, Candace, with roll call.
Todd Casper.
Here.
Ken Killian.
Here.
Barbara Doss.
Here.
Lynn Parrott.
She's excused.
Kathy Kopp.
Here.
Jason Arts.
Here.
Bob Gates.
Here.
Okay, the first item on our agenda tonight is consideration of the consent agenda. The following items may be approved on a single motion and vote due to their routine nature or previous discussion. Please indicate if you would prefer separate discussion or action on any item. The first item is the council minutes from a November 28th regular meeting. Second item is payment of bills. The third item is the financial report for November. The fourth item is appointments to boards and commissions. And tonight I'm appointing Deb Faraday to the Housing Authority for a term ending May 1, 2026. There are several licenses in your packet, 1 and 2, your operator licenses to serve and sell alcohol. There are taxi driver licenses, and then there are actually taxi vehicle licenses. Additionally, there's resolution 23-38 appointing the election inspectors for 2024-2025 as presented by the city clerk. So we have the consent agenda.
Move to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, let's not all talk at once, but we have a motion to approve the consent agenda by Jason and a second by Kathy. Candace will vote.
Casper.
Yes.
Killian.
Yes.
Doss.
Yes.
Kopp. Yes. Arts.
Yeah.
Gates.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, the next item on our agenda then is citizens' comments, observations, and petitions, if any. Again, these are comments that we receive from the public. We ask that people speak no longer than 5 minutes during this portion. And tonight I have one person who has requested to speak, and that is Kevin Reed. And he wants to speak about the Platteville Fire Department honor roll in City Park. Kevin.
Good evening, people of Platteville. My name is Kevin Reed. I am a longtime citizen of Platteville all of my life. Served in the Navy 4 years. Came back to Platteville to look after my mom in her old age. Wanted to serve my community. Served my community in the Platteville Fire Department for 8 years. During those 8 years, I spoke up against drinking and driving fire trucks all the time. All the time. I requested and had records made for myself, open records requests. Them records are out in the public now. I've released them to a lot of different people. The only thing I haven't released is the audio cassette tape I have in which Chief Leidy, then Fire Chief, Honorable Chief Leidy, stood in front of this council and said, no, fire trucks were never driven by drunk people. Well, that was obviously a lie. They were, because if that had been the truth, he would have never had to been up here telling that. Lies, lies, lies. So I am the village idiot. I'm coming back here. I want to have scheduled a petition of redress of a grievance, please. I would like that scheduled for the next council meeting. Like I said, I am the village idiot. I do want answers. Some of the things I'm going to ask. Government, what's the purpose of government? Who does government represent? Who's it for? You know, these are questions you people are going to have to answer. Now, we're going to get into a lot of subject matter when I come back here next time. I want to throw this out there right away. And I'm going to tell a little story here before I do. I worked at the university for a long time. A custodian. There was this colorful custodian over there that always wanted to tell me about his exploits, sexploits, whatever. But he'd always want to tell me the story about getting this gal over top of the chancellor's desk up in whatever hall that is, can't remember, 3rd floor. Man, I wanted the guy to be my friend because I've always struggled having friends, but so I'd never said anything. I never liked gossip. Gossip has no place in any of our lives. And here's a little poem about gossip. And yeah, I would always try to put gossip down. I tried to put gossip down for many years beat it back, said, no, I don't want to hear that. How do you know that's true? You know, I try to put gossip down all the time. Well, here's my poem. I did not write this. I wish I did. My name is Gossip. I have no respect for justice. I maim without killing. I break hearts and ruin lives. I am cunning and malicious. But my victims are helpless. They cannot protect themselves because I have no name, no face. I am gossip. Gossip has no place in any of the things that are going to be coming down the line for anybody. I can't prevent that, obviously, but hey, I try to take the high road. I always have tried to take the high road. You know, I could have come down here right out of the blue and sprung all this people on you people just like that. No, I do not operate that way. I came to Clint and I told him my concerns first. These concerns have been bothering me since summer when I had a truck repair. Came down to City Park, had a cigarette before I went to pick up my truck, looked at that fireman dildo statue, and you guys put up an honor roll on there. Oh my God, all them guys that are on that honor roll are guys that are listed in all the documents that are out there in the public. Those men are honorable. They drank and drove trucks. They damaged a power cord at the fire station. Same driver hit another door on the way out another time. There was damage done. And you know what? Thankfully, God did not let us suffer somebody getting killed or maimed. You know, that personal tragedy, plus the tragedy of the city having to pay out some big ass lawsuit. No, that kind of stuff has got to stop. And tonight, this is kind of about me, but it's not. We're here tonight to respect life. And we're going to start, we're down here in the damn gutter right now with where respect for life is. We're going to start raising that bar up. Hey, I am pro-life. Pro-life is a lot more than anti-abortion. Pro-life starts with treating your fellow Christian, fellow person, fellow human being with dignity and respect. If somebody comes to you and says, has concern, you know, I was one man in the fire department standing up, speaking my concern about a loss of life, possible loss of life. What did I get for it? Man, well, hey, that'll come out next time too, but a lot of I had a hostile workplace at my UW Platteville. Man, you talk about hostile. What is the politics of the Platteville Fire Department doing in my workplace? Well, Honorable Firefighter Dave Langkamp, my custodial supervisor, which Bob Lady made a captain over another man, Joe Udeloven, that should have had that position. Joe was a second generation businessman here in Platteville. He was a little PO'd, I could tell. When Bob gave that position to Dave Langkamp, but he gave that position to Dave so he could do this. That did not sit well with Joe. Joe looked at me like it was my fault. Hey, I'm just standing up for life. I'm just standing up for life. We are going to raise the bar of life. And like I said, this is a little about me, but it's not about me.
Okay, Kevin. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Please tune in next time.
Okay, we'll go on to our next item on the agenda, which are our reports. Boards, commission, committee minutes as follows. The Housing Authority Board, Lynn isn't here. Anybody else with anything to report? Okay, how about Police and Fire Commission, Kathy?
Nothing more to add.
Okay, other reports, the Water and Sewer Financial Report were in our packet. The Airport Financial Report, the Fire Facility Update was in our packet, and Department Progress Reports. Anybody with questions on any of those?
I have one on, I think I'm on the right area.
Okay, Ken?
It's Department Progress Report. It's for Police Department. I just have a question.
You're gonna have to wait just a minute in order for that to be answered. Do you have any other questions of department chairs that are in, or department directors that are in the room? Ken, do you have any other questions of any other departments?
No, that's the one.
It's just the police department. Okay, then does anybody else have questions on any of the progress reports? Okay, Joe, thank you for giving us an update on the Denisi properties. It looks like all but two of them have now been sold, and I do see the ones on Water Street coming under construction, so thank you for that update. And I guess at this point, what is your question on the police report?
Well, the police chief is not here.
I know he's not. But maybe somebody else can offer information.
Well, okay, it says the police department received a notice of the insurance payment for the squad car, which was damaged in an accident on November 2nd. My first question is, this damage to the police department car, was that due to the city of Platteville police being negligent, or what was the situation?
No, if my recollection is correct, the squad was hit by a member of the public.
A member of the public.
Yeah.
So next it says the squad was deemed to be a total loss, but the projected payment is far below the cost of a replacement squad.
That's
So
correct.
why wasn't the public liable for payment here?
That would be between the two insurance companies. So typically when there's a car accident, the two insurance companies have a conversation about which insurance company is responsible. Perhaps the driver didn't have insurance. I'm not sure. We could look into that for you.
Yeah, because that seems strange. So that's my question. So why are we without a replacement squad? It says we're gonna be operating
But
full time.
either way, I believe that if a vehicle is a total loss, then the value of the insurance proceeds will be the value of the vehicle. This was a 2018 vehicle, so it had considerable miles on it. And so then the amount of the insurance proceeds would be the value of that vehicle when it was hit, which is not the same as buying a new squad.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I have, if I recall right, we did receive information in one of Clint's weekly updates about the accident, the police vehicle being in an accident. So Ken raised the question of, was the police vehicle accident, was that our problem, or was that we were hit? Nicola has reported her recollection is that we were not at fault. Go ahead, Doug.
The officer was northbound through an intersection and somebody did not stop.
Right. And then,
Struck the side of the squad.
and so then the second question was, why wasn't the insurance payment enough to replace the car?
We went through the city's insurance and they're going to subrogate back to the at-fault driver's insurance. And it replaced a 2018 squad car.
So the car was a total loss, but sometimes a car could be a total loss. For example, hail damage. I've had vehicles, hail damage, total loss. I accept the total loss, but I still keep on driving the car.
We didn't have that option.
What? You
We didn't
you
have that
that
option. It was inoperable.
bad.
It was bad.
And then I had another car that was also a total loss, was in Illinois, and I went down and got the car and I repaired it for $300 and I kept on driving it.
We weren't given that option either.
Okay,
Thank you.
any other questions on the department progress reports? Otherwise, we'll move into the action items for tonight. The first is resolution 23-39, providing for the borrowing of $275,000 with a GO promissory note. Nicola.
Thank you. So we talked about this at the last meeting. Essentially, tax increment financing District 6 has been extended for 6 years. We are projecting by the end of those extensions that the district will close in the black, as it were, in 2032, having met all its obligations. But in the meantime, between now and approximately 2028, it's projected to incur annual deficits. We are planning next year to go through a process to refinance for those future years. But we would like to do a 1-year finance to cover the shortfall in 2023 so that we do not have to advance from the general funds to cover that shortfall in this 1 year. So that's the need for the $275,000 general obligation tax exempt promissory note. You'll remember that we did a promissory note for CIP a little earlier this year, and during that process, we went out for proposals from our various local banks. Clare Bank had submitted a very competitive proposal back then, and also met all of the criteria that we had requested, which other banks had not done. So for this promissory note, we reached back out to Clare Bank to see if they were interested in submitting a proposal and what the interest rate might be. They did submit a very competitive interest rate proposal of 3.99%. And so that is the note that we are asking you to approve this evening for TID 6.
Okay, questions on resolution 2339, providing for borrowing of $275,000 on a 1-year promissory note. Kathy?
Simple question. The expense of the borrow, is that going to be absorbed by the TID?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? If not, I'd take a motion.
I move to adopt the resolution 2339, issuing a promissory note of $275,000.
Second,
Okay, we have a motion by Bob and a second by Ken to adopt resolution 2339, issuing this promissory note in the amount of $275,000. Candace will vote.
Casper,
Yes.
Killian,
yeah,
Doss,
Yes.
Cop,
Yes.
Arts,
Yes.
Gates.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, next on our agenda is resolution 2340, authorizing the issuance and sale of $1.655 million in water and sewer system revenue bonds, series 2023C, and providing for the payment of the bonds and other details with respect to the bonds. Nicola.
Thank you. So this is our borrowing that was budgeted for the 2023 water and sewer CIP spending. And we had an initial estimate of the size of the bond that would be needed as the 1.655 million based on the projects that are listed in the staff note. The bond sale was today. We have good news on that, and I did distribute the sale day report from Ella's, which is on your desk, and we're going to work through that briefly. Brian would normally be with us to present the sale information, but he had 3 other different meetings this evening that he had to attend, so he was not able to be with us. So I will endeavor to walk through the sale day report with you. So if we turn to the second page, you'll see that, first of all,
oh,
I-
that one,
Just a minute, I think it's probably over.
here, right here.
so this is actually listed as page 1 at the bottom, but it's underneath the title page. And here we have the sale results. First of all, I'd like to point out that our rating from S&P was issued with the AA-, which is consistent with our past issues. And so we're pleased to be able to report that. And you'll see another rating that's listed there. These bonds were issued with insurance. That is something new for us. And so I have an email out to Brian about the insurance. I'm just going to check my email and see. Oh, he did respond. So I'm not sure exactly which entity required the insurance. It would be either the underwriter or the buyer. But when we get to that page, I'll point that out to you. But the rating AA there is provided by S&P for Build America Mutual, which is the insurance company on the bond. You'll also notice that we had 5 bids, which is a strong showing of interest in the offering. And the low bidder or winning bid was Hilltop Securities out of Texas. This is a new buyer for us. So we're excited to have attracted another buyer, which hopefully they will now follow future issues and we'll have more bidders on our bonds. The other thing that I want to point out on this page is that the low bid was 3.7404%. The high bid was 3.9301%. Those are the true interest cost rates. The pre-sale estimate was actually 5.013%. So we did very well with this bond issue, and we will see that depicted in a graph when we get to the last page. So there was also premium issued on this bond, and so that reduced the amount of principal that was needed to $1,610,000 instead of the original $1,655,000. If we jump to page 3, you will see here the bid tabulation with the winning bidder, Hilltop Securities, listed first, and with the various yields on the various coupons for the bond. And then if you flip to the next page, you'll see the other bidders were Baird, Bach Financial Securities, Bernardi Securities, and Northland Securities, all of whom have been winning bidders on previous issues. So on table 1 on page 5, we can see a comparison here of what was in the pre-sale report from Ellis, the preliminary estimates, which are in the first column on the left. And you can see here that the original estimated cost of issuance in total was $87,000. You can also see that the net borrowing requirement was $1,450,000 with utilization of cash. And the premium at that time was not estimated because typically there's no way to know if a premium will be offered. The total to be financed after interest, earnings, and rounding was $1,655,000, as we just mentioned. Now you can see in the next column the final results after the sale. And again, you can see that the borrowing requirement remains the same, the $1,450,000. But now we have the offering premium of $79,146. The reserve requirement went up a little bit, and there's also a little bit more required in terms of issuance expenses, and that's because of that bond insurance that was in there for $7,004. So the total to be financed is reduced to $1,617,000, and after interest, earnings, and rounding is how we size at $1,610,000. And then you can see the breakout there between the water and the sewer utilities. On the next page, we have the allocation of the debt service and the annual payments between water and sewer portions. And then down at the bottom right-hand corner, you can actually see documented the difference between the initial estimates and the final sale results in red. We can flip to the next page, and you're familiar with these tables. They were in the pre-sale report as well, but now we have the final results. We can see the final debt coverage ratios, which are depicted in the third column from the right, starting with 1.89. So you can see that we will have coverage. We're looking for that 1.25%, and we are substantially higher than that in this table. And then if we go to the next table, we can see that this is what is described as the all-in version, as analyzed by S&P. And in the third column from the right, this time I'll point out that these ratios are based on 2022 net revenues, but with the recently passed increase in the water and sewer rates, that ratio will come up. So currently we're showing that we're a little bit below the 1.6, but once those revenue figures are updated, I'm confident that we will be well above the 1.6 that we're looking at. If we flip to The next page, you should be looking at the report from S&P. So this is the result of their consideration of all of the documentation that we submit, all of our financial information and the position statement, and then a conversation that they have with us and with Ella's ratings call. There's a few I would encourage you to read this report because it will give you valuable information about how S&P considers the utility to be doing. But I'll just point out a couple of things here. So on page 10, you can see under the credit overview that the rating reflects the S&P view of the utility system's consistently robust financial performance. Also, proactive management regarding rate oversight and capital planning. They also consider the utilities revenue base to be diverse. So we've got manufacturing, we've got retail, we've got residential, and we got the university, which all contribute to having a diverse base for revenue. And then they appreciate our annual review of rates that we do through the Water Sewer Commission, the long-term financial planning, and our compliance with regulations for the quality of both the water and sewer utilities. And then the significant residential customer base is also a stabilizing credit factor. Things that are what they consider weaknesses would be the moderately limited economy, which is not just for Platteville, but for the region. So we don't really have much that we can do about that. And then they do consider our reserve levels, while healthy, are less than our peers in terms of other utilities that they look at. So they might consider a stronger rating if we were able to increase the reserves of the utility. So then the last thing I would like to point out to you, if you flip to the last page in the sale day report, is a graph. And you may remember, if you looked at this graph during the pre-sale report, that the graph represented was increasing between July and essentially about October, November. And that was where it stopped at that point. So we were seeing that there was a incremental rise in interest rates, and there was some concern that the interest rates might be higher when we issued or when we had the sale. And you can see the drop off there that happened over the last couple of weeks. So we have benefited from that drop off in the rate that we received from the bidders. So with that, I'll just point out again that the motion that we are looking for to approve this sale would be $1,610,000 rather than what's in the staff note. But I will hand it back to the council president and see if there's any questions.
Anybody with questions on this? Otherwise, I asked Nicola what kind of magic she did so that we could get such a fine rate. So, because we did, that is a fine rate. So
It's definitely a team effort, and you know, a lot of factors, as I just stated, that go into that, but we're very happy that we got the low rate.
certainly. All right. So any other questions? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I'll give it a try. I move to adopt resolution 23-40, authorizing the issuance and sale of $1,610,000 water and sewer system revenue bond series 2023C of the city of Platteville County, Wisconsin, providing for the payment of the bonds and other details with respect to the bonds.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on resolution 2340, noting the amount is $1,610,000. Candace will vote.
Casper,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes,
Doss,
Yes.
Cop,
Yes.
Arts,
Yes.
Gates.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Next agenda action item is extending the city engineering services contract for 2024. Howard.
Yes, thank you. Delta 3 Engineering has served as our primary engineering consultant since January 2011. We've had a number of RFPs. The latest was in 2020 with the current contract expiring December 31st of this year. Due to many different factors, we did not get an RFP out as planned. So you saw a presentation last time from Dan about the activities of Delta 3. And so staff is recommending that we extend the current contract for the 2024 calendar year and that we conduct an RFP process.
Okay, any questions or comments?
I have one question here. It's on the first page. It says, due to grant writing, comma, current projects and staff turnover. So my question is, who do we lose for staff?
I believe he's pointing to the city manager.
The city manager is gonna.
It feels like I've been here a long time, but
It's really
I
only,
arrived
That's
in May.
supposed to be the staff right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
We've made a lot of memories together since May, but it's only been since May.
Okay,
all right.
thank you.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll move to approve the extension of the current engineering services contract with Delta 3 Engineering for calendar year 2024 staff to conduct an RFP process for services beginning January 1st of 2025.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion by Todd and a second by Kathy to approve the extension of the current engineering services contract with Delta 3. Candace will vote.
Casper,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes,
Doss,
Yes.
Cop,
Yes.
Arts,
Yes.
Gates.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, that's the end of our action items for tonight. We have one information and discussion item before our closed session. This information item is about a local historic designation of the Roundtree Stone Cottage. Joe.
Yes, so the Grant County Historical Society has submitted a application to have the Roundtree Stone Cottage at 460 West Madison Street designated as a local historic site. So that would be under our Historic Preservation Ordinance, Chapter 27, which would give some additional protection for the property in their opinion, as also some additional recognition for the property. As you're probably aware, the site has been a local historic site for many years. It's already on the state register for historic places, as well as the National Register of Historic Places. So it just kind of seems like a formality to me, but the council does have to vote to approve that. So that would be on for action at the next meeting. The Historic Preservation Commission already recommended approval.
Okay, questions? Todd?
Who retains ownership of the cottage then? We're not changing that, I hope.
No,
Okay.
it's just a designation.
Okay.
So, and the cottage, that property is owned by the Grant County Historical Society?
Correct.
And this doesn't obligate us in terms of any future monetary.
No, it would just require the commission to approve any exterior modifications to that
Okay.
property.
But not to pay for them.
Correct. No.
Any other questions? Okay, then that goes for action at our first meeting in 2024. Because I would remind people that we do not have a second meeting, a regular meeting in December. Now, the next item on our agenda is to go into closed session. This would be closed session per Wisconsin statute 1985, parent 1, parent E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business when competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. This is about the library transition, and it would be our goal.
Madam President, I don't think we need to go into closed session. I don't have any new significant information to share with you since the last meeting. We had it on here underneath the anticipation that something might come to us within the last few days that would require it, and we're not there yet. We're continuing negotiations through the city attorney.
What time is it, Clint?
6:34, but until we hit all in favor on an adjournment, I'm not gonna count my chickens.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Candace will vote.
Casper.
Yes.
Killian.
Yes.
Doss.
Yes.
Cop.
Yes.
Arts.
Yes.
Gates.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Wow.